Hi, my name is Brad Eilering, and the title of this work is Crash. When I was making this piece, I thought a lot about coming from a place of architecture into a place of sculpture. Now, I'm a grad student in sculpture, and this piece is reflective of that journey, and in many ways it becomes a self-portrait of who I am. In looking at the work and thinking about the form, the visual form that you're looking at, there's two different languages here that come together. The hard-edged, more geometric, architectural language against the softer, more organic language. And I think that organic language also is expressed through the gesture of the form, that the piece has a lean to it, sort of a wiggle. And that was definitely intentional as speaking towards my journey in towards sculpture. The concept of this work, though, is also represented through the material choice, which is steel, and this being steel plate, which we recognize as coming from industry, as being something that is hard and rather resilient to change. But in the way that I've used it, it represents vulnerability. The steel that I've used after it had been fabricated into these shapes was exposed to acid to etch off the surface and to provide vulnerability. And then the process of creating a patina, was started. But when you get the chance to come up close and look at this piece, you'll notice that the patina becomes somewhat of a map of experience. It is modeled, and through each of those marks and shapes, is reflective of the experience that the steel has been through. Also in a way speaking of my own experiences. So I welcomed you to take a good look and spend some time with this piece titled Crash. And also one closing comment is that the exterior reality of this piece is very different from what you get on the inside. The inside, represents an inner view of what this sculptural form has to offer, much in the same way that each of us, has an introverted or an extroverted side to us. The site is important to me, as all of my work begins with site selection and studying that site. But this piece, it was important that it be at this university, the university that where my sculptural experiences are occurring. But for this to read to a wider audience, I chose the location in front of the residence hall as being a reflective location. Me personally, when I go home and retire, for the evening, is when I'm able to reflect on my accomplishments throughout the day. And in a way, having the sculpture located here is reflective of the academic experience, of the proper portion of the campus versus the residence hall. But I also think that on a more specific level, if you compare the sculptural forms of this piece to the context, it purposely picks up on the angular relationships of the building and incorporates them into the sculpture.